Hey, Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share mine asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So what are you waiting for? Just click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss an episode. So have you ever thought, what is it like to do speed dating, especially as an asexual? Um, so in case you didn't know, asexuality is a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction. And obviously this can make dating and relationships very difficult if one person wants sex and the other person doesn't. Not all asexuals don't want sex. Some will have sex and others really don't want it. So I'm personally sex repulsed asexual. So I'm on meetup.com, and on one of the groups I joined recently, it's called Cupid's Lounge. And basically they are holding meetups, which are virtual speed dating ones. And they did their first one today via Zoom. And so I attended, well, yesterday now, because we're through to the next day. So I attended it and I didn't know what to expect. Now, I was disappointed that before I attended it, I got told I had no matches. And so I asked them because I had to fill in a questionnaire, and so did everyone else in the group. Bear in mind, there's 80 something people who said they were going, and it's an all over the world thing, though. So you can be put with anyone in the world, but you have to state your preferences. I stated that I'd like someone in the Europe. Um, you couldn't just say in the UK, from what I could see. And I stated two age groups, so 18 to 24, I think it was, and 24 to 34, something like that. I'm not really interested in 18-year-olds, but I just like 21 and up, but there wasn't a bracket for that. So you have to go with what you're given. But I chose two age groups, which I think most people thought they could only choose one. Anyway, I did personally message one of the organizers and tell him what I like, which is like I am asexual and sexual orientation, because I said I was quite surprised that there's not um a question asking what sexual orientation you are on there. And I'm asexual. I did say I'm attracted to younger foreign guys in their 20s, particularly Indian. And so anyway, I did that because I couldn't add additional information to the form. It's quite rigid. There's not much options, and you couldn't say, like, there was no real multiple choice. And one of the questions was, do you like movies and watching TV series? Yes or no? Well, I like movies, but I don't like watching TV series. But I just had to put yes because I like the movies. So it's really annoying. So it's quite rigid, really. But they're new from what they're doing. They're building an app. They got a person who's a founder of an app. So they're building an app, which I presume they're going to actually sell membership to in the future, but they're trying to sort that algorithm out first. So I think they're using our group on meetup.com as an experiment. So it was like, from the point of view, like, I think the hosts were lovely. They were really nice people, but I think it could have been a lot better organized. But I understand it's their first time. So I'm used to attending events on Zoom that are really well organized. They're very fast and efficient, run smoothly. Everyone knows what they're doing. But they were kind of new to it, I could tell, and kind of just trying to make the best out of it. But they were lovely hosts, really nice people behind Cupid's Lounge, I thought. So that was interesting. So yeah, so I filled in the question now. I think it was too rigid. I did give my feedback on the fact I think it needs more questions, such as, like, what sexuality are you? It needs to also have questions like, instead of just yes or no, it should be like, is there, are you yes, no, or flexible over this? Like, what is a person flexible over, and what's a deal breaker for them? Like sex, marriage, kids, living together, like sexual preference, marriage, kids, living together, all deal breakers. So I recommended on the feedback that they should ask that on their form, because there's nothing to ask, like, do you want marriage? Do you want kids? Do you want to live together? And especially marriage and kids are usually on most like in-depth dating profiles. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they're using an algorithm, so I think they should be including that. So that was some of the feedback I gave, because I felt the form wasn't really substantial enough. They didn't have any multiple choice options, so it's very limited. They didn't even have, like, stuff like, does a person smoke? Because I really don't want to be with a smoker. So I made some suggestions, and I think people should, like, when it came to doing the actual the meetup itself. So first of all, like, they were introducing well, waiting for people, and then they were introducing, what more about Cupid's Lounge and the rules. I think it would have been good to go around everyone first and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what type of relationship you're looking for in general. I just but that wasn't what happened. It was kind of like just general chit chat a bit. There was a lack of direction, I felt. And so yeah, it could have been a lot better, but I think they tried their best. They just didn't really know exactly what they were doing so much. They weren't prepared, I don't think, fully like they should have been. But one of the organisers, he was poorly, so he was doing his best. And one of the things that was really difficult for them is some of the people who were meant to be matched didn't turn up. So that meant that one of the hosts had to reset the matches. So first of all, I ended up in a room by myself. So I got told there was no matches for me. I should go back a bit, rewind. I got told there was no matches for me. But when I asked them in message, I said, "Is this because I'm asexual, or is it because the age group I'm interested in? Because interested in younger guys." And I got the response that basically it was the age group I'd chosen. There was no matches with my preferences, and that I could come in like for the community bits and as a reserve. But if anyone then didn't show up, then I could be a reserve, as in be a match for someone. However, I they didn't guarantee that for me. And also, I can't remember what I was gonna say now. Basically, yeah, they said there was no matches for you. Oh yeah, and if I did get matched as a reserve, it would probably be around my birth certificate age, basically the age bracket I am. And I was like, oh my God. Right. So anyway, because I explained that I don't really get attracted to anyone near my birth certificate. It can happen rarely, but not very often. But I was willing to give it a go because I thought it's better to get out of your comfort zone, give it a go. I'm actually doing salsa dancing later today now because we've gone through to the next day to try that out. One is because I've always wanted to try salsa dancing, but you never know, you might meet someone nice there. But gets me out of my comfort zone. But I don't like dancing with older guys, so I really don't want that to happen. I feel really uncomfortable. Anyway, going back to the speed dating, so I because I'd said to them about, like, I was willing to, like, try it anyway, even if it might be someone older than I would usually go for, they allowed me to go in it with the link. And so it was nice to meet people. They're different people from all over the world. There was some interesting people. I think there was more serious people in this event. There was some people who kind of like were seriously interested in a relationship, which I thought was a really good thing about it. And if people have bothered to fill out a questionnaire, they're semi-serious. Do you know what I mean? Because people who are not serious just won't bother to do that. And so it's really interesting because there was guys that I was really interested in, and there was one guy, and I thought, oh, I really hope I get to speak to him because he's really nice looking. And he was coloured, but not Indian. And there was a couple of other guys that I was attracted to as well. But this particular guy stood out because he had really beautiful dark coloured skin. And he really stood out to me as a really good looking guy. Anyway, um, the first time there was like 3 times you went and did your matches, and the first time, I was surprised. I thought there'd be a lot more than that, but the first time I did a match, I literally ended up in a room on my own and thinking, "Okay, there's no one here," because we got told that basically if we've got no match, we'll just stay in the main room. But I didn't stay in the main room. I got to put in an actual room by myself. So I just decided to date myself and thought, oh, I'll ask myself questions because there's nothing better to do. But also, I like dating myself anyway. And I thought this would be good practice. So I was asking them, saying, "Oh, hi, Sandra. So how are you? Like, what are your hobbies and interests?" I was asking myself, like I was questioning myself. I thought, well, I got the best date ever, and I for my first date myself. So that was really good fun. But I did actually ask the organizer because I thought maybe they've made a mistake. So I did bring them in to help me. I said, they're like, am I supposed to be on my own? They're like, well, yeah, because your match didn't turn up. So I'm like, oh, okay. So anyway, she's like, you can come back to the main room if you want. But there was only like 20 something seconds left. And I rushed to the toilet quickly because you have to keep your camera on all the time. They did say it's a stipulation to keep camera on all the time, but I was late eating. Like, I didn't even get to eat a full meal before we started, but I was still eating in the first 5 to 10 minutes. But luckily, they were waiting for people to come in to the room still by then. So, So I got away with keeping my camera off for that bit. Well, I came on and said, "Look, I'm just eating my food. I'll switch the camera on for them when the event starts." So that was okay. So I've got a professional Zoom account. I'm known as Sandra Bellamy / the Asexual Entrepreneur. That's my Zoom name, so you can see it. I had to put that down on the form that I had to fill out. So anyway, so that was the first session, was with myself, and then this then it was weird because they spin the wheel and they do icebreaker questions. So I did think that was a really good thing. So if anyone's stuck for icebreaker questions, they did this spin the wheel and they give you 3 ideas of icebreaker questions that you can do. The thing is, though, it's a lot of the first icebreakers. They got nothing to do with a relationship, really. They just got to do with like some random thing about yourself, or something, or about the other person. But it's kind of like they're icebreakers, but they're not really getting down to nitty gritty stuff. But because of the way it is, you've only got limited time anyway, and you've got to not make it an interrogation. So that's why they're doing like light-hearted icebreakers, like you would do on a dating site. So anyway, they did the spin the wheel thing and it landed on these, and then you could write the questions down. I think I made a note of one of the questions or something similar. Oh yeah. So what do you oh right, yeah. I mean that's my own question. What do you like most about the work you do? Deal breakers. So I haven't actually written anything that they said, but they said something about food. Like, what's your go-to comfort food was one of the icebreakers they did. So anyway, so the first person I dated was myself. The second person, I was so happy because I actually got a guy that I really wanted. The guy that stood out to me most in the whole of the group, even though he's not Indian, I got him as a date and I was so excited. I'm like, it's you, hello, I wanted to speak to you. And I had my mic on mute by accident. I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to switch my mic on. So this guy's in Spain. But he's really nice looking and he's a chef. And I just thought he's really good looking. He's from Gambia originally, I think he said. But he's lived in Spain for some time and like I said, he's a chef. And so I'm like, oh my God. So he was really nice to talk to, but you don't get long. And I just thought, oh my God, it was so nice to talk to someone I was really attracted to. Because that's what I was worried about. And he told me he's 30 because I said I like guys usually in their early to mid 20s. Like, oh, I'm 30. I said, well, I did say 2 age groups. I said like 18 to 24 and 24 to 34. So, it's fine because you're in the age group I said. But he did look younger. And also he wanted to know my birth certificate age. I'm like, oh God, I really hate talking about my birth certificate age because there's nothing like who I am. And then I started saying I've reprogrammed mine to be like 21 years old, and I like going to clubs and theme parks, zoos, and aquariums, and having fun and stuff like that. And he's like, "Oh, it's okay if you don't want to answer." And I'm like, "Oh, how old do you think I am?" He goes, "Oh, you look really young, like 28." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." I didn't. He did say, "Oh, you're really beautiful" to me, which I thought was really nice because I said, "Oh, I said that I thought he was really good looking," basically, and he said, "I think you're really beautiful." So it's really, really nice to have that. I really appreciate that. And then the third date, so first was me on my own. Second was the guy that I was really attracted to. And the third guy was an older guy, and he did have a beard, and he was way out of my age range that I would be interested in. But it was nice to talk to you. I just ended up talking to him about web design. It's not really what you go around talking to someone about in a date thing, do you? So I ended up talking about website work because I asked him what job he did, and he's like, "Oh, I do IT, but I can't always get work in that, so I do something else to pay the bills." But then he was talking about the fact that so I just started asking him about website, like, can you code websites? And I started talking about WordPress blog. Like WordPress, I said, "Oh, I've got a WordPress blog and build my own website using WordPress and plugins." And it wasn't very romantic because I wasn't romantically attracted because he was a full beard guy and an older guy. So I think he might have been younger than he looked had he taken his beard off. But anyway, he was nice to talk to. He wasn't. I didn't. He was foreign, so I appreciated that. And he does live in the UK, but not my type. And so anyway, it's really interesting. Because later after the event, I'll go back a bit more about the event in a minute, but after the event, both of these guys connected with me. The bearded guy, the older guy, he connected with me on Facebook, literally just to ask me, how he accesses Facebook dating. Because I told everyone about Facebook dating when I was doing the group work. I'll explain that in a minute. And then the other guy I was really attracted to, he contacted me through meetup.com. He'd been trying to find my because I gave him my phone number. He'd been trying to find it on WhatsApp. He said, but I can't find you on there. I said, no, I'm not on there. I usually like do all my messaging by Facebook and all my dating video dates by Facebook. So, but he didn't ask me for my Facebook, but he ended up messaging me in meetup.com, and he is attracted to me. I'm attracted to him, but he needs sex. So you might have seen my shorts video. I didn't show you his name, but I just showed you this little bit of message, just that bit of message that said that about the distance being too far and he needs sex basically, like no sex in the distance, which just wouldn't be any good. But it's really interesting because he's carry on talking to me, even though we established we weren't suitable for relationships because he wants sex and I don't. He carry on talking to me, asking me questions about asexuality. But of course, it felt a bit like he was like when someone accuses you of like why, with the way they phrase the question, like why are you asexual? What made you asexual? What caused you to be asexual? And it's like, oh my God, I just get so fed up and tired of these same questions. It's like nothing made me asexual. No experience made me asexual. I was born this way, always born this way, but didn't realize it till 2014. Like, there's evidence at 6 years old when I had my first boyfriend and he wanted to do sexual stuff with me. Yes, 6. We were both 6. He wasn't older than me. He was the same age. And so basically, there was evidence back then when he wanted to do sexual stuff. I didn't at 6 years old. I really didn't. I hated all that type of thing. But I loved the kissing at 6 years old. Then I was asexual. So nothing's made me asexual. No experience has pushed me to be asexual. You can't make yourself asexual. And it just gets, like, so tiring and boring and, like, same old questions, but he was asking me in a nice manner, and he said, "I don't mean to, keep asking you questions or make it like an investigation or something. I just am curious to learn more and to understand and learn from you." So because he put it that way, it was nicer. He seems like a nice person so far from his messages, but it just feels a bit like an interrogation when people are saying to you, like, I want to know the cause of it. Like, what made you like that? It's like, because he doesn't understand it. And it's like, why can't people just understand that not everyone gets the need, urge, or want for sex? Like, some people just don't feel that way. It's not how they're wired, it's not how they feel. They don't get that urge. I don't know how I can make it more clearer than how is it different. How it's different is I don't get that need for sex. I don't have an urge for sex. I don't have a wish for sex. I don't have a want for sex. I don't feel anything in my body that makes me want sex or my mind or my soul. I can still get aroused, but that's just like a feeling in my genitalia. It has nothing to do with me for sex. You know what I mean? Like, I don't relate it to sex. Like, it's not making me want sex. I just get a feeling in my own genitalia, not that I want to go and actually use that for anything else. It's just like pointless to me. I'm not interested in sex. The more that I'm not interested in sex, personally for me, I'm thinking, why is everyone else interested in it? And I said to him, like, what made you what made you heterosexual, not homosexual or bisexual? Do you know what I mean? It's like, why do people just think it's so weird to be asexual? Like, why why are you the sexuality you are? Like, why are you? Why were you born like that? And it's just, like, you could say that about any sexuality. Like, why were you born bisexual? Why were you born homosexual? Why were you born heterosexual? Why? Why are you heterosexual? Why? What made you heterosexual? What sexual experience did you have that made you addicted to sex? That made your body chemically addicted to having sex? And getting those urges and getting those needs and getting those wants. Why? Why are you wired like that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, how does that feel to a heterosexual person to be constantly saying that to them? Like, what's the difference? Like, why are you that way? Why? You know what I mean? It's just like, and yeah, answer. Why are you heterosexual? Because what, you're programmed that way from society? You're psychologically conditioned to be that way? Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's just like, and when someone's talking, asking you questions constantly about sex, and it's like, I'm not interested in sex yet. I have to answer all these. Well, I don't have to, but he was asking me in a nice way, and he said, like, I'm curious because I've never heard of this before. and I want to know the causes of it, the reasons, and how it's different. But, there's no magic thing that's coming down and saying this is like I haven't got an injection of anxiety. Injection of anxiety. I do have an anxiety condition. I haven't got an injection of asexuality in me. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's inject asexuality into you. Let's try an asexual coat on, and it's a magical coat that'll make you be asexual. It's just like, please, just like, why can't someone understand that I don't have that need, urge, or want? Yes, everything works like it should. Yes, I can still have children if I physically want them and I don't, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in my birth certificate age either. I'm really not interested in traditional relationship stuff either. Oh yeah, that was the thing. So when we were in the groups and we were doing this group, we ended up doing group activities, and one lot of people went off in a trivia room, a room to do trivia quiz basically, and others stayed behind. And then she spun the wheel and we had to answer like questions and stuff. Um but I think it was before the trivia room. One of the things that cropped up is I ended up talking about asexuality, right? And then this guy said, "Oh, well, how like how does that work with having a family? Like, how are you going to have a family?" I said, "I don't want a family." I said, "Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean to say I want children and a family, because I don't." I said, "I'm a career woman, very independent." And then he was going to start talking again, but and a lot of people were getting engrossed in what I was saying, because what happened is this woman said to me, "Oh, what type of entrepreneur are you?" Like, I said, "Oh, I'm known as the asexual entrepreneur." And I explained what asexuality was. It's a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction. And I don't experience sexual attraction to anyone, but I'm attracted to guys. And then this is how it came about. But then they started saying, the organizers started saying, "Oh yeah, well, we will have romantic meetups and we will have friendship meetups." I hate it when people just think you want to be friends with someone just when you're not having sex. That really does piss me off. It's like, I can have a relationship without sex, and it's not a friendship. It can be a romantic relationship. I don't snog my friends. I don't want to go around getting into bed and cuddling with my friends, or even cuddling my friends at all. I'll give my friends a lower goodbye, hug, but that's about it. And not even to all my friends will I do that. But you know what I mean? To me, like, I don't go around snogging my friends and stuff. Maybe other people do, but I'm not into that. And I'm just really not into sex. And it's so like, it's a shame that that guy in Spain like couldn't live without sex, because he's not that far away. But yeah, he's too far away really. But I mean, it's a shame because he's a chef. He could easily get, well, I say easily, he could get a job in the UK as a chef. There's loads of chef jobs, knocking around. Usually people want chefs. But anyway, it's nice to talk to him. He genuinely seemed to like me. He said I'm amazing. I said I am aesthetically attracted to him, but I agree with him, the distance and the fact that he obviously wants sex and I don't in a relationship. That means we're not suitable. But he did say, "Oh, you're amazing. I like your personality." And so that was nice. And I do seem to get on with him so far, but it's early days and it's gonna be no go anyway. So anyway, um what was interesting is one of the one of the icebreaker questions they were doing, spin the wheel. They were doing it to as a whole group at the end. So some people went to do the trivia quiz, some people went to just be in the main group with icebreaker questions, but they were asking the whole group instead of individuals. And one of the questions they asked is, "What's the most heartfelt gesture you've done for someone?" And I was trying to think of one, and then I said, "Oh yeah, I know." So I came on the microphone in front of everyone and said that mine would be saving someone's life. I said it's not romantic. I have done romantic things for my ex before, like taking him to Blackpool for his birthday. But I said that non-romantic wise, I saved someone's life, and I was explaining what happened. And one woman was saying, "Well, how did that make you feel? Like, how did that affect you?" And I said that it made me really emotional. And I explained more what happened. I said, "But even if I died tomorrow, I've known I've done a good job, because I've given someone their life back, basically, who was trying to kill themselves, and it's the most precious gift you can give someone is life. So even if I died tomorrow, my life's still been worth living. I've still done a good thing. And it's just priceless." And so, I explained I got a Good Citizens Award, explain what happened. with that, and I had to pull their head out the water and stuff like that. So it's, I was sharing that. So that was quite vulnerable. Later on, we had to share what we thought about dating apps as well. So what have you thought is good things about dating apps? What have you found like online dating? What have you found is bad? And so there was other people that contributed to the conversation, but I did say what my experience was, especially with Facebook dating. And so that's why afterwards the older guy found me on Facebook itself, didn't friend request me, just wanted to purely wasn't interested in me romantically, but just wanted to ask me about how to access Facebook dating, which I said you can't access it on computer or tablet. You can only access it on phone as far as I know. So anyway, I actually allowed myself to go back on Facebook dating after that. I decided to start matching again just to see if there's anyone remotely interesting on there that might be suitable for me. I just thought I'd give it a go. I might turn it off again soon, but I thought I'll just give it a go because it's been absolutely months since I was last on there. I can't even remember when I was last on there. It's over 6 months ago. Might even be longer than that. It might have been the year before. I can't even remember. It's absolutely ludicrous. But because I've taken a break for so long and I've still kept the same profile, it means I'm not going to get the people who I blocked previously on there come back up. So at least I know there'll be fresh people. But even so, I've already gone on there. And some of it's good because it's like, oh, this person doesn't match all your preferences, which is good because they let you know. And I wasn't on Instagram before, so I've managed to add my Instagram photographs now. You can go through to Instagram and look for new possible matches through Instagram, but it does say whether you've got things in common or whether they match your preferences or not. But it says don't match all your preferences. And anyway, so I decided to do that. But even the guys that are coming up, they're coming up with smokers, which I can't stand smokers. Bearded guys, can't stand bearded guys. A lot of them are British. I'm just really not interested in British. I'm not saying I would never be interested, but it's just not my type that are coming through anyway. And so yeah, I like a guy to look like a guy. Some guy on there looked really feminine. It's too feminine for me. I don't mind that guy having some feminine traits, but if a guy looks too much like a girl, then it's not suitable for me. Personally, and yeah, so it's very interesting. I had a couple of a few friend requests because you can get dating friend requests. So it's like collect as friends first. And there was one guy who I think is Indian, but he's in Ireland and he's 34. He looks much younger though. He only looks about 28 at most. And so yeah, but he requested friendship. It's like looking for friends for my princess. So I'm guessing he just wants to be friends because he said friends. But the trouble is obviously because it's dating and friendship, like basically it means they'll start as friends first, but really they're also interested in you more than friendship because it's a dating app, you know what I mean? A lot of the time. So yeah. But some people could just be looking for friends. So anyway, because the older guy's now going to go on Facebook dating, I don't think I'll ever hear from him again. The other guy, I'm not sure I might hear from him again. The younger guy, the guy in his 30s, like 30-year-old, who I got on really well with, who was asking me about asexuality. He does seem really respectful in the fact that he did try and explain that I'm not just being curious. I want to learn from you. I'm not trying to just question you and stuff like that. So I think he could sense I was uncomfortable and he wished me good night, which is really nice. Like I like that about him because a lot of guys, when you're in the middle of talking to them, they just don't say goodnight or anything. They just stop the conversation or cut off or just go and do something else. And it's like, it's bloody rude, I think. I prefer someone to just say, look, I'm going now. I've got to go to sleep or I've got to go and cook. You know what I mean? This type of thing. Not someone who just stops talking to you, especially on meetup.com, because you can't see if someone's messaging you or not, or if someone's seen the message or not, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, but I liked the group bits, like, but I think they could have done better because I think they could have like put more people in rooms, even if we weren't in the exact match, because no one's perfect. You're not going to get a perfect match anyway. So I think, like they could have done a bit more mixing and matching, I think, to just make it a bit more interesting and to just give people a chance that maybe you hadn't spoke to before and maybe try someone different. Do you know what I mean? I think that would have been a good idea. And I think it would have been a good idea if, like I said, they went round everyone and said, like, can you say your name, where you're from, what type of relationship you're looking for? Because a lot of people didn't even say where they live. Some did, but it was like randomly had to ask each other really, rather than it being professionally done and take it in turns and going around the group and saying your name and where you come from, what sort of relationship you're looking for. I just think it would have been much better to do that to begin with. And you couldn't private message people either. So in chat, if you saw someone you liked in the whole like Zoom room, you couldn't then direct message them as part of chat, which I thought was bad, but someone else did that as well. Because if you see someone you like, you don't really want to go around saying, "Oh, I like that person there," when you've not been matched with them and in front of everyone. You really want to just directly private message them. And they turned off that feature. They turned off that ability to do that, which I thought was like, why? Because surely that's part of the fun and interest is being able to just direct message someone and say, "Look, if you're interested, let me know." And then you could ask to be broken out into a room from that, especially as there wasn't many matches to begin with. I was grateful I got a couple of matches though, you know what I mean? Besides myself. And especially one I really liked. I thought that was really well chosen. So even though he lives in Spain, it's like not a million miles away, is it? But I did get on well with him and he was very attractive to me, even though he's 30. So yeah, they made a good choice with him, I think, for me. Because out of all the people, I can believe it. Because I thought, oh, because he is younger. I thought, and they said, if you are going to be matched with someone, it'll be someone around your birth certificate age. I thought it was like, obviously he was older than I'd usually go for, but I thought that, I still thought it was good that they matched me with someone who's not too far out of the age range that I would usually go for. So yeah, I really liked listening to different people's point of view from different countries as well and different lived experiences of dating. I think I did some good contributions about relationship stuff as well. But they seem to now be saying that they're gonna have meetups like where they just discuss dating and relationships. Um, and a chat and chill session as well. So it seems they've listened to the feedback that's been given, but I think they could do better on the dating side. But I understand it's really hard if people don't show up like they gonna say they're going to, because it, basically means that when they match them on the system, it just doesn't work that way. I think what they should be doing is having people in reserve or having ones that really ideally match as close as possible and then ones that are matched less and less and less, if you know what I mean. So at least you have like a variety of people and you have ones to fall back onto and you can just experience someone different for a change. So anyway, that's pretty much my review. Yeah, and like I said, people hadn't heard about asexuality, so I did tell the older guy as well. And I in Facebook afterwards when he asked me how to get on Facebook dating, I did say about asexuality and he goes, "Well, I've never heard of that before." So yeah, but I was glad to educate them. I made quite a valid contribution to the group discussions. Um, so yeah, I told them I was going to be a speaker at Oxford University in October as well. They're asking me what my talk's about, so that was interesting. I've never revealed what it's about yet, but I did say something. I did say the main topic, I think. But I got to finish a chapter of the book. So I'm doing a chapter for Blue Talks, and I'm going to base my talk for Oxford University for Blue Talks on that. So that's the chapter's got to be in by the 30th of April. So I need to finish that. So yeah, overall, I'm really glad I went to the speed date. I'm glad they allowed me to go. I did have fun. I did enjoy myself. I would do it again. And yeah, it's a shame that that guy lives in Spain and needs sex really, because could have been nice or good. But yeah, I think he will actually message me again. I got a feeling he will. He showed quite a bit of interest in me. But anyway, I had a good experience. It was nice to do something different. I think it's really good to get out of your comfort zone. Oh, afterwards, I should say they asked not just for feedback, but they also asked if there's anything like anyone you want to talk to afterwards. Like, do you see feel any sparks between you and someone else or someone you'd like to talk to? If so, like tick which boxes of the people you like and want to connect with. And if they agree to it, then basically you can connect with them afterwards. But some of the names were missing on there, especially if one of the guys I liked, who I think was Indian, but he was in Paris anyway. But I can actually connect with him because it didn't have a tick box for him. So that was a bit weird. Anyway, I hope you found this useful, helpful, insightful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And share it if you want someone else to hear about Cupid's Lounge group on meetup.com, and my experience might help them to decide if they want to join it because it is a global thing. So yeah. Anyway, see you soon and take care. Bye. Lots of love.